Hi everyone, this is Usha Pandit, your Mind Springs English teacher. Today I have got you an excellent lesson. It's one of those things that are going to be a part of your CUET exams, right? The one that you need to give for admission into colleges. The lesson is called Collocations. In case you've not subscribed already to this channel, make sure you subscribe, you press that bell notification, share the video and give me a comment. So today we are doing collocations, and collocations are a combination of certain words that go together without any real reason why they should be together. But they are in popular use, they are used by everybody that way, and then therefore they are the way it is. So you can have, there is no grammatical rules there, they are combinations of all sorts of nouns and adjectives and adverbs that go together. So this is just usage, collocations, okay. Very important, they are going to ask you multiple choice on these, so you must know the meanings of these words and terms. So I am going to do that with you. So let me give you a few examples to start with. Before I do that, let me talk to you about my book Writing with Ease. It's got a huge amount of vocabulary of all kinds. It's not an exercise book, it's basically a reference book, but it has got tons of vocabulary and something that you need for an examination like this. So examples of collocations are things like family and friends. Now you would say why family and friends, but that's how it is. So you say family and friends, you say keep up appearances. Why not keep down? There's no reason. It's keep up and that's how it is. Have a quick look at, to grab a bite. Have a quick look at is to quickly look at something. Take a quick look means there's no time. And grab a bite, again you grab a bite when you have no time. But why grab a bite? That's how it is. Grab a bite means let's quickly stop somewhere and buy a hamburger or buy something that's very quick to eat. A pack of chips maybe. Park a conversation. Now this is odd, isn't it? Why should you park? You park a car. But here you are saying let's park the conversation. Means let's have it another time, not right now. But you can also park an idea. So there you go. Then there are idiomatic expressions, small expressions that are idioms. Idioms are basically a combination of words where each word that makes up that idiom has no connection with the meaning. That's an idiom, right? So if you say it's raining cats and dogs, doesn't mean the cats and dogs are really falling down from the sky, just means it's raining heavily. Now that's a typical example of an idiom. So you have something like play possum. Possum is a small little animal that kind of plays dead. So if you go near it, you'll feel like it's dead, and then it waits for the person or the animal or the predator to go away, and then it jumps up and runs away. So play possum, we also say for people who are basically pretending not to know something. So there are some people who pretend like they don't know when they actually know, and that is playing possum, right? Play games, that's an easy one. Now when you say play games, you can be talking about cricket, but you can also be saying that you are somebody who manipulates other people. You play games, right? You can make a play for. To make a play for somebody means to try to, in what you call in Hindi, to patao them. That is, you are trying to get that person, you are wooing that person. In English you call it wooing, right? Enjoy leisure and you enjoy a treat. Both you enjoy. You can be absorbed in thought and you can be absorbed in work. Both can be, is about being absorbed. You curl up and sleep, which means you are very cozy and comfortable, and you can say, what do you expect me to do? Do you expect me to curl up and die? Which means, should I be helpless? Should I not make any protest? Oh, everybody, they are ill-treating us, so what should we do? So if someone says don't protest, don't make a noise, don't really make such a big hullabaloo out of it, then you say, do you want me to curl up and die? So that's an expression for saying not do anything, be passive. Is that what you are saying? Curl up like a worm. Now you will find that worms curl up so that you can't harm them. The soft parts, they kind of try to knot it together. So curl up like a worm is something that you say to people who are trying to protect themselves by completely being passive, by not reacting, curling up like a worm. If you don't know this is an idiom, guys, there are people who actually take offense. Like if you say, oh, you've curled up like a worm, they actually think you're calling them a worm, but you're not. It's an expression that means something quite different. So if you get something like this in your exam, you need to know what it means, right? Then you can clear the air. Clear the air means there's a lot of tension in the room. Two people who are really angry and fighting with one another are sitting there and they are sulking and they are bitter. And clear the air is when someone comes in and makes peace. Someone comes in and does something that makes everybody laugh, and then you say, okay, now let's be friends. You've cleared the air. Or you've cleared a problem where you say that a misunderstanding is cleared. You clear the air is what we say. You see, clear a misunderstanding and then you say clear the air. This is one of the complications of English. There are so many ways of saying things. And if you're not a good reader, and if you are not a good listener. So right now you are listening to me say this, let me tell you it's good enough. These are not expressions that you have to memorize. These are not expressions that you have to work a lot over. These are expressions that you need to come across in a context. So clear the air is something that you will hear in movies, you will hear it in your TV serials, you will find it in books, you will find it in cartoons. But if you are not exposed to any English media, I don't mean study. Now if you are waiting for this to come in your textbook or in your coursework or in your grammar book, it may not come. But if you are somebody who reads cartoons and who goes to movies and who listens to different media in English, you will come across all these expressions somewhere, and a couple of times you hear them, they stick. You don't really need to learn them a lot. Trial and error is again something that goes together. You never said only error, but you said trial and error. It almost means like the people have tried and failed and tried again, and it's something that has come out of a lot of trial and error. So the product is pretty sound, solid, because people have repaired it. That's what you mean. To be at odds with something. To be at odds with something is where you disagree and you are unhappy with the way it is. To be at odds with someone means you disagree with that person, or you can be at odds with a situation. Both are possible. Beyond a shadow of doubt. You must have heard this. I am sure they are going to lose the elections. I know it beyond a shadow of doubt. What does it mean? It means that I am 100% sure, right? Why shadow of doubt? Nobody knows how this came about, but that's how we use it. Then you have to shadow someone. To shadow someone is like a detective. You're following them. And if you're shadow boxing, it means you don't really come up and fight. You don't really come up and protest, but you do it through something else. So what people see are shadows, but they don't really have an identity. So if you say he's shadow boxing, means he's not really putting his name to it. He's simply kind of doing something without really committing to it. Shadow boxing. For better or for worse is the marriage vow. I'm going to marry you for better or for worse, which means through good times and bad times, I'm going to be with you. Go with the flow. What does go with the flow mean? Go with the flow means things are running, things are happening, and you simply go along, don't protest, don't unnecessarily create any troubles. just go with the flow. Flow with the tide also means the same thing. And if you say in a flow, it means very, very fluently. She speaks in a flow, meaning she does not stop, she does not stammer, she speaks in a flow. Anything going in a flow is continuous and comfortable and extremely fluent. Then there are these verbs that you use with certain things. You say, you make a friend. You don't say you take a friend, you take a wife, but you make a friend. See this? You will say, why both wife, friend are relationships? They are about human beings. Why should one be take a wife and the other be make a friend? There is no reason. You just need to know it. If you say take a friend, it will sound funny, odd. It will not be correct. You might get a fill in the blank, dash, make, take, give, come, etc. and then a friend or a wife, and you will be expected to fill in that blank. This is the kind of questions they are asking you in those exams. Now they expect you to know it, right? And you are not going to be able to study it. You should know it by a lot of exposure. Just listening to this video, guys, you will get all of these expressions, and then you will meet it somewhere else and it will become permanent. Very quickly you will learn it. You keep time. If I say I will make time, it means something quite different. To keep time means I am going to keep time and I am going to check whether you will finish something in 10 minutes. To make time means I am very busy, but I will make time for you. I will create a slot so that I can meet you. Difference. To get confirmation. I need to get confirmation. That's the word get. To find a solution. To float an idea. And these are all common things that we say to one another. So, okay, we were sitting around and someone floated an idea, which means someone had an idea, and then that is how we began this startup. That's what you are saying. Float an idea. To prove a point. So, some people will argue and argue in order to prove a point. They never give up. They never say, okay, let's agree to disagree, let's part as friends. They will take it to a point of being very unpleasant because they want to prove a point, right? And then there are all these amazing things, was discharged from a hospital. We never say went from a hospital, went away from a hospital. We never use words like this. Now, if you don't know this word discharged, you might end up saying something else. You might end up saying he was told to go, something like that, which will be wrong or which will be colloquial. So, he was discharged from a hospital. When they send you away, you pay the bill and you are discharged from a hospital. You are released from a jail. You are not discharged from a jail. You are released from a jail. You pass out of school. You retire from an office. You relinquish a seat. To relinquish means to give up. So, if you are holding a seat, if you are holding a position, you relinquish it. You give it up, right? You are voted out of power. Now, if you are sitting in a seat which has got power, you have to be voted out. Otherwise, they will stick to that chair forever, but they can be voted out. They may not relinquish, but they will be voted out. Admitted to a college, you intervene in a fight. So, if there is a conflict, two people are fighting, then you intervene. You don't interfere in a fight. You interfere when I am talking, but you intervene in a fight. To intervene means to go and in a way you are trying to make peace. Interfere means you are interrupting what I am saying. There is a small difference, but that small difference will cost you that mark if you don't know it. You employ a strategy. Imagine. Now, you employ staff and then you employ a strategy. So, strategy is employed. These are things that you must know. There are hundreds of these collocations, and these are some of those that you must just pick up. I will give you a few more. You miss the bus means the job is gone, or whatever it was that you wanted has gone. You missed the bus means you cannot get it back again. You might say it's not a big deal, it's not a big decision, it's not a big idea, it's not big money. They are all a little bit different. Big money is very different from big idea or big deal, right? A slow coach, a slow learner. A slow coach is somebody who walks very slowly. A slow learner, of course, is someone who needs help. Slow pace. A slow pace of things means things are moving very slowly. Business is very slow. And you say a slow start, which means things are not moving as fast as they should. And we were expected to be selling our product in the shops, but we are still manufacturing it. It's a slow start. It's heavy. Suppose you say it's heavy, it could either mean it's very heavy, or you could mean that the whole film or whatever it is that you saw is heavy, which means it's dark and it's not something that's light and funny and happy. You take it back with you and you feel you're thinking about it, it's heavy. It's steep. Anything can be steep. Prices can be steep, isn't it? Something is steep means it can be a mountain and it can be the cost of a product. It's deep, can either be a well that is deep or the ocean, or if you say it's deep means it's a deep thought, it's a profound idea, that also can be deep. It's complicated. So you will find that some people, they will tell you about relationships, they will say it's complicated, which means somebody is married, divorced, there is a whole lot of things going on, nobody knows what exactly the intricacies of the relationship are, and it's complicated. Complicated can also be a sum, complicated can also be a machine that is hard to operate. And if you say it's hard, it can again be a hard sum or it can be hard times. See, it's hard means the going is tough. See, that's another one. Then you have to be deep in thought, or you can have a deep desire, deep throat. Deep throat is someone who is a detective, somebody who knows a lot but will not talk about it. Deep throat, deep sleep, deep breath, deep depression. You can go into a deep depression and you can say deep down, I'm really angry. Deep down, I'm very sad, which means deep in your heart, you're not showing it outside. So there you go, a whole bunch of deep there, and of course you take time for something, you take comfort in the fact that your mother is with you, you take somebody hostage means you hold a gun to their head and say, come on. You take prisoner, you're arrested and taken to jail, you take your exams and you take pride in the fact that you are a loyal friend. So people, there are so many collocations, you tell me. How are you going to learn all this? You cannot. You have to come across them, you have to come across them in videos like I have done, you have to come across them in the movies and the books and the films and the cartoons and the newspapers that you read. These collocations will keep popping up. And the more you read, the more comfortable you will be with them. And when you read a sentence, you will get it, bingo. You got it, you understood what it means, and you will be able to make your MCQ choices beautifully for that exam. So in schools, if you are not already doing this, need to make sure that you do some of these from time to time. And as I said, Writing with Ease is the book that you need. If you are looking at other books, I have got a coursework book called Empowering English. Every end of every chapter I have put a bunch of phrasal verbs, a bunch of idioms. So that book is full of this kind of work. That might be something that the school wants to use as coursework in the coming year. So till we meet again, keep smiling.